So they say Artemis is on a mission to go past the moon, and they're going to take astronauts with them, and that they're actually orbiting the planet now. And these are the pictures that they send us back allegedly from space in orbit. And this is the trajectory of what they plan to do in the ship that they have with modern technology. But some say that there's more to this story, and that the shots that we are seeing, it's not real, it's CGI. And it's well put together. But the real image is, we are surrounded by an ice wall inside of our realm, inside of a bigger, larger, more gigantic realm or ginormous realm, populated with more life. And that what we're supposedly looking for above is all around us. And the realm we're trying to get out of is our realm. The continents that we see. But beyond the wall, there's more worlds. That life goes on until the infinite of what the human mind can comprehend. And what we see above is the electromagnetic holographic realm channeling the realms that are all around us and the one that we are a part of. And they tell us there's not much to do in Antarctica, and they're just doing research there, doing notes, and there's penguins you can check out, some seals, some whales occasionally you can check out. And it's just, a place of research in Antarctica that is being controlled and monitored by the world's elite scientists and governments. And you can only go so far in and drill so far deep and take minerals and resources out of what this is called the ice wall. And the theory is that beyond this ice wall is the entrance into other worlds. And this is why they restrict it so much, and they limit the access that you have to going to and fro. But these people claim to do research, like seeing if there were trees and just other land masses that possibly have been. Could this be the truth that they are hiding from humanity? Channeling the sound vibration and frequency of the electromagnetic realm, empowering themselves, while hiding the truth from the rest of humanity. The question is, what is beyond the ice wall, or what is in fact in the ice, beyond the perimeters of what we can see? Or is there more? And if we go back to 1946, when the Second War had just ended, you'll see that America was in the greatest deficit financially than it has ever been in history. Congress wanted peace, they wanted recovery, and they were willing to spend money on trying to fund any expeditions that was going to help them find the continent of Antarctica and the empire of the Children of the Sun that existed in Antarctica, that they had heard the so-called Nazis, or the ones who went against the German empire of the Children of the Sun, had went to Antarctica and found out that there were other land masses there, and that there were particularly a civilization of other Children of the Sun that they wanted to find out how they had what they had and where they went to and what they actually have hidden there. In fact, if there were people still in the geographical area. And was that actually the exit out of this realm into higher realms is what they wanted to know, because there appeared to be something that happened with them not being able to get into communication with the civilization there at that time. And after World War II, there was a peace treaty signed by all nations to come together to stand against whatever it is they thought was in Antarctica. And then there's the story of Admiral Byrd, who was a highly decorated naval officer who became an explorer, who actually went to Antarctica. And then at age 68, I think it was in 1957, before he died, he had started revealing things about Antarctica, saying that he had seen these great cities, these crystallized cities with the Children of the Sun there, and there were black people, or what they call black people now, there, and they lived in these great civilizations beyond the ice wall, and that there was knowledge and wisdom and great architectural wonders of things he had never seen before. And after he had discovered this information by flying through those terrains with his coupe of 30,000 something followers that followed him down into the ice. All of a sudden, this expedition was cut off. All the people who were a part of the expedition became disheveled, lost. Some of them went mentally crazy, they said, because of the things they had witnessed. And you just didn't hear much about the people who were part of General Admiral Byrd's team. None of them really wrote memoirs or discussed what happened in Antarctica, and not even General Admiral Byrd until his death in 1957 at age 68. But what happened to these gentlemen? What did they see in Antarctica on their journey to find this empire that was beyond the ice wall? And did they indeed find this empire? And when they discovered what they were looking for, what was the peace treaty that was accumulated from them finding out what they discovered? Because this is after World War I, and this is, preceding World War II. So these people were basically on a global mission to eliminate all empires. And there's an interview that Admiral Byrd took before he died. And in that interview, he discussed with the American with the American government, that they needed to take necessary precaution because there could be an enemy that could attack from the poles. And that this enemy would have the capability and technology to attack from any direction if necessary, based on what he had saw with his exploration. And one thing for certain is General Admiral Byrd thought that what he saw was so powerful that it could be a threat. And it wasn't based on information that was leaked to him, but this was information based on things he had saw for himself. And he said that this civilization was not scary, they were not threatening in any kind of way, but they were definitely an advanced civilization, and that we should take precaution in understanding what we are dealing with trying to proceed further. The question is, what did General Admiral Byrd see within that 2-month expedition that made a man who's highly decorated and in the position he was in to say the things that he said about Antarctica and what he had saw or seen with his very own eyes? And when you look at the exposition's composition thoroughly, you'll see that the notes and the things that they said happened just doesn't quite add up. And let's take the stated objective seriously. In 1946, if you were going to do aerial shots of Antarctica, then you would need planes with cameras on them and high-tech equipment. That's an expedition of 300 to 400 people at the most. USS Philippine Seas were there, an aircraft carrier displacency of around 27,000 tons of supplies. It was not just for a mapping vessel. Neither were submarines just for mapping vessels or assault ships carrying marine infantry. That was not just mapping. The entire operation was not run by a scientific agency, not by the U.S. Geological Survey or by the National Geographic Society, but by a Navy operating force of command, the same command from World War II that spent years plotting operations against real enemies and real wars. So they assembled the largest polar expedition in the history of man. And you have to ask yourself, what exactly were they looking for in Antarctica? And what had they discovered that made them want to come back in full force, ready to navigate or even go to war? Well, how about the story of the 3 pilots who took a flight expedition ship that disappeared and was never seen, and they were never heard of again? 3 pilots, and the only thing that was found was the engine weeks later. Everything else was just gone. And you have to ask yourself, what was going on at that time that required this much of a military force? And this is after Nazi Germany and after the fall of Adolf Hitler, and after he had already sent troops to this area to do expeditions. But what exactly were they seeking? Yet unverified testimony is exactly what erodes credibility. So we can't say exactly that this mission was just simply for geographical, land operational, aerial mapping, because there's too much being classified and a lot hasn't been declassified that was necessary for them to enter. And what about Admiral Byrd and all the files and the things that he said and everything that has been blocked and censored from the common man and woman? And what has been declassified, which doesn't make sense or doesn't add up? All we know is that General Admiral Byrd died at the age of 68. And when he died, he took a lot of secrets with him about the things he had saw in Antarctica, the crystallized cities, the ancient black people that he said looked like children of a son, the modern Negroes. He saw those people there in these cities that there was an interest into that realm. So what is actually classified and being held in these files? And the man who has spent more time in Antarctica than any human in the world died without revealing any of his secrets. No memoirs and not a single interview, or even just him giving word to any kind of press about what he had saw in Antarctica. It is all being held and kept in secret away from the public. But what is being actually hidden and classified? And why can't they talk about that with the common man and woman is the question we have to ask ourselves. Why is this place restricted? And why can't you only go so far without the military getting involved and blocking your hand? All we know is that after his passing, 12 nations signed a peace treaty agreement